Are you trying to get back into sport? Or do you want to start a new one? Do you feel overwhelmed by the choices you have out there and you're not convinced of the right activity that can fit you? Then this episode is right for you. Finding the right sports activity can be a fun and exciting journey, but it can also be stressful. We already said how athletes are a different species altogether, right? Busy adults, being or getting into sport into adult age, it is tougher. And that's why different strategies need to apply. Today we'll discuss which are the 4 factors that athletes need to keep into considerations when looking for the physical activity that's right for them. Hey there, you're listening to EJR and this is Athlete. If you're like me, you probably tried 1 zillion times to get and maintain yourself fit. And you failed. There's nothing wrong about you. You just need to keep trying. For me, it all started in survival mode. Following an accident around my 20s, I had to learn from scratch how to train from within and not simply copying what a perfectly trained trainer showed me or told me to do. That never works, by the way, at least not long term. And so I started learning how to train tailoring to my unique goals, which also makes me more accountable in keeping healthy habits in check. In this podcast, I share the tricks and secrets about why you keep failing in training and nutrition and what you can do about it. Okay, so what do we want to take into consideration for a proper informed decision? We'll check 4 key considerations you need to make before you jump into a discipline. 1. Lifestyle. You may want to consider your lifestyle. Your main preferences, schedule, and budget can make it or not make it work. 2. Real interests. You also need to become a pro in identifying your real interests and what can keep you motivated in the long term. 3. Physical abilities. Assessing your physical abilities is pivotal when choosing what to do with your body. So you really want to be sure to do that. And 4. Team or individual sport. Are you more of a team or an individual sport person? Trying different sports can help in assessing this, but also researching the discipline and what it concerns can support in making the right decision for you. Finally, I've got some extra tips for you. We'll discuss how connecting with people who can give you true perspectives and feedback can actually push you even more than just asking and relying on a trainer. Let's get started. Topic number 1, lifestyle. As an athlete, your lifestyle is one of the most important factors to evaluate. Think about your schedule, budget, and other commitments. Choosing a sport that fits into your lifestyle and that won't cause too much strain on your time or finances is something that could decide if this is really going to work or not. Why? Well, we want this to work out and regularly. You want your daily habits, routines, and priorities all to be considered when deciding if a sport fits your life rather than disrupting it. If you're thinking how it would be cool to do something, picture yourself doing it with regularity. What are the efforts in pursuing it and what are the benefits? We don't want to be just like another toy that will be discarded soon after play. You want to be consistent. And for that, my friends, you need to plan it. It won't happen by itself. As we said in previous episodes, athletes have their own full life, and sport starts or continues on the side as a hobby or a physical necessity sometimes. Because it doesn't represent the core of your life, it will be easier to slip away if you don't make it work with your lifestyle and schedule. No matter how you love the sport, waking up at 4 a.m. every Saturday of a cold winter after a crazy week at work, well, you know, it's far from being easy and pleasurable. And if you end up going to bed very late on the previous Friday, it can even become dangerous. Anyways, next, you need to consider your time commitments. If you have a busy work schedule, you may want to look for sports that offer flexible scheduling or allow you to participate at your own pace. Some sports require frequent practices or matches, which are fixed. So, finding one that works with your schedule is key. So, for example, I had the chance to train during the week with my coach, but it wasn't possible because of way too long commute and work commitments. Still, I didn't say goodbye to the discipline altogether. I just confined the training in the weekends and train it consistently with different disciplines more accessible to me during the week. And I would say this actually improved my performance in the main one. Then consider your personal preferences. Do you love being indoor or outdoor? Let's say you have an indoor job the whole week, but you generally are an outdoorsy person. Choosing a physical activity that is permanently indoor would actually mean you being indoor the whole week. Do you really want that? That's a question you have to ask yourself. The reverse is also the same. If you have an outdoor job, are you willing to be always outdoor? Or do you prefer some balance? Moreover, finding a sport that aligns with your interests can make it even more enjoyable and easier to stick with it over time. Budget is also another factor to consider. Some sports require more equipment or membership fees than others. Being mindful of your financial situation not only means looking for options that fit within your budget, but would also allow you to exploring possibilities that you may have not thought before. Maybe you can still practice that expensive discipline with adjustments. You need to figure it out. When my option to skating on the ice went to zero, I decided to switch to roller skating. But in the meanwhile, I never stopped looking for options and made calculations on calculations to understand how far I could drive to meet a coach and train on the ice. Then suddenly an opportunity opened in my own city and I put my ice skates back on. So you never know, just fall on your best level of preparedness. Topic number 2, real interests. You need to become a pro in identifying your interests, especially the ones that can keep you motivated in the long term. Thinking about the activities you enjoy and the sports you like to watch can make you feel energized and excited. But to become and keep your status of athlete, you need to keep rolling even when you're not anymore energized or excited. You need to go beyond the wow, that sport is amazing, to I love moving that way and I want to repeat tomorrow, no matter what. First, deeply research the sport you're interested in. This includes learning about its history, rules, and culture. Watching videos of professionals playing the sport and attending local games or matches can also give you a sense of the atmosphere and community around the sport. There's no better way than trying the sport to see if you want to repeat the day after or so. attend beginner level classes, or depending on the sport, check online courses to try it out and see if you enjoy it. This can help you determine whether the physical demands of the sport align with your current level of fitness and any physical limitations you may have. More on this to come, anyways. Then, your personality is also an important factor to consider. For example, if you're introverted, you might prefer individual sports like running or swimming, while if you're extroverted, you might prefer sports like soccer or volleyball. Now, maybe, just maybe, you want to reach double goals and try to be more extroverted to counterbalance. Then I would say go for it. You could reap two benefits with one effort. Then determine your goals for participating in the sport. Are you looking to improve your fitness, compete at a high level, or just meet new people? Remember, identifying your interests and passions for a specific sport is an ongoing process. Be open to, trying new things and exploring different sports until you really find the one that you enjoy. I've started countless disciplines and eventually stayed with the ones that were the best fit for my overall demands. Topic number 3, physical abilities. As I said, assessing your physical abilities when choosing a sport that aligns with your fitness level and any physical limitations you may have, it's key. Firstly, you need to consider your overall health before starting any new physical activity. I mean, this is like basic rule, right? And if you have any medical condition or past injuries, you should really consult a healthcare provider just to ensure that the sport you're interested in is actually safe for you to participate in. Then, assessing your fitness level is another important step. Understanding or even professionally measuring your endurance, strength, and flexibility can help you determine which sports are actually best suited for your physical abilities, for your body. Additionally, taking note of any limitations you may have, such as, things like joint pain or limited mobility in some part of your body, can actually impact which sports you're able to participate and, most importantly, enjoy it. Because if you're in pain all the time, if you are doing movements that actually make your experience worse, it's not gonna be nice. And honestly, as adults, we don't really want to have pain or be bored by some issues during our free time. Age can also be a factor, but I would say up to a certain level. Some sports may be more physically demanding and require greater endurance and strength, while others may be more suitable for flexibility and balance. But I don't like to fix our ideas of sport on a certain age limit. Of course, it doesn't mean that certain sports should be off limits to you. Sometimes you can even join clubs with older members, even if the sport is something that maybe more young people should do than older ones. But you can do it. So, for example, as I said, you join a club with older members, it actually dramatically cut much of the risk out. Or maybe simply decide you will never perform certain moves. For instance, joining a rugby team of over 35 years old people would make it less dangerous instead of competing with no injured 20-something. Or for me, would be knowing that I will never jump on the ice doubles or triples. No matter what level I reach, I know the moment I try to do that, then my joints will not sustain that for long term. So I will get injured at some point, and it's actually normal. It's nothing strange. As we said in previous episodes, it's important to start slow and gradually increase your intensity and duration when starting any new sport or when returning to physical activity after a long break. It can help prevent injury and improve your overall fitness level, so be aware that this is how it's going to be, especially if you're older. So the older you are and the more time you have to give yourself. If you're unsure about which sports are best suited for your physical abilities, seek the advice of a personal trainer or coach. They can help you identify your strengths and weaknesses and also recommend sports or activities that are safe and effective for you. Remember, this assessment is an important step in choosing a sport that actually aligns with your necessities. It needs to be tailored to you and only you. Forget about emulating what you see on social media and make enough time to evaluate all the aspects of the discipline by doing your research and trying it out step by step. By doing it, you can safely land in a sport that you can truly enjoy and which you'll be motivated to participate in regularly. Topic number 4, team or individual sport. Decide whether you prefer to play on a team or to participate in individual sports. Think about the level of social interaction you want and whether you enjoy competing with others. Team sports and individual sports are two very different categories of physical activity. Each type of sport offers unique benefits and challenges as well. And the decision to participate in one over the other often comes down to personal preference and goals. Let's start with team sports. As the name suggests, team sports such as football, volleyball, and baseball involve a group of people working together towards a common goal. This could be anything from scoring the most points in basketball to winning a soccer match. One of the main advantages of team sports is that they promote social interaction and team building skills. Playing on a team allows you to constantly communicate and cooperate with others and work towards a shared objective. If you happen to be an introvert, this may mean too much stimuli, and you may want to choose an individual sport instead. On the other hand, individual sports like running, swimming, and tennis involve one person competing against others or against the clock. In individual sports, your success will be measured solely by your own performance, which means more personal pressure and no sharing of the stress. However, one of the main benefits of individual sports is that they promote self-discipline and personal accountability. As an athlete in an individual sport, you are responsible for your own training, preparation, and performance. This can lead to a strong sense of self-reliance and confidence. So, if you really want a confidence booster, this is actually good. Another advantage of individual sports is that they offer more flexibility in terms of scheduling and training. The moment you're only accountable to yourself, you can train and compete on your own schedule without having to coordinate with a team. Nevertheless, this means that you cannot take advantage to being pushed by the team when you just don't feel like training at all. There's also a third category, to be honest. What about individual sports that compete in teams? I would say they are a bit of a mix. Take gymnastics, which is performed individually, but it's often done in competition among teams of gymnasts. So you're never alone, you are with your team. And also sometimes I think the points are scored by team, not individually. You could benefit from getting accountable in this kind of situation, but at the same time, sharing the responsibility of performance. And I have to admit, it is also pretty cool. I've participated in a relay triathlon and I was thrilled to share the excitement and stress as well with my teammates. We were doing everything together and it was very fast, but it was also a lot of fun. And I think if you're alone, everything is on you and you have nobody even just to talk like and say, oh my god, I'm so nervous, oh my god, I'm scared. That passes in your mind, you cannot do it. Yeah, maybe you have a coach, but it's also different because you don't want to show the coach too much of your nervousness. So the relationship must be completely different compared to having some teammates. Also, trying different sports helps. So explore different activities to find out what you enjoy the most. Attend classes in studios or clubs, or try playing a sport with friends, simply. Another great way to discover new sports is also by randomly researching the options in your area. This can be as simple as searching online for local clubs or facilities that offer sports that you're interested in. Actually, you may be surprised. Some sports are very niche, you don't know them yet, and some others you just never thought that in that specific building they were doing that specific activity, and it may be nice to do. Take the time to read up on the rules and regulations as well. You can learn a lot by doing this. It's a little bit counterintuitive. Not so many people like to read instructions and rules. I do, so I'm a geek in this. But you will be surprised by doing this. You can learn a lot. You can actually understand what you're getting into just by reading how you have to behave. Like, I can tell you, I have still this anecdote about the relay triathlon. I signed up and we didn't have much time actually. So I was already trained. That was not a problem. But it was my first time. And then at some point, of course, I had to read what to do. And, there are some paths you can go into and out, and there's check-in, check-out. There's so many rules, actually. And when I went to read the athlete's guide, I was shocked because you had to mind so many things. And especially in that situation, even if you read the rules, the excitement you have actually makes you forget about what you have to do. And I saw people that were actually breaking the rules and they were called off. So it's important to understand. And at some point, I even thought, wow, actually, I'm thinking it's so much stress to think about all those rules. Maybe it would have been better if I just go for a run by myself. For example, just close to the run, I've got to understand that I could not use my headset. And honestly, I hate running by myself. I love listening to music. And actually, the music gives me a boost to push even more. And when I learned that, I was like, no, why? I want to listen to music, but it was not allowed. So, yeah, there are some things you have to know. And it makes a difference, I would say. Once you've narrowed down your options, attending introductory classes or sessions is a great way to try out a sport without making any kind of long-term commitment. But watch out. You really don't want to jump in a beginner class that has already started. Find a way to get the first important information that an absolute beginner needs. I know this very well because I broke my wrist joining an already started class when I needed to learn to fall before attempting certain elements. These sessions are usually designed for beginners and provide a supportive and encouraging environment to learn the true basics, like really, really the basics of the basics. Plus, you have the opportunity to meet other people who are also trying out the sport for the first time, so you don't feel alone. Also, joining a recreational league is another great way to try out of sport in a low pressure environment. Not only you will get to play with others at a similar skill level, but you also have the chance to improve your abilities over time. And who knows, you might even make some new friends along the way. Also, participating in community events is another fantastic way to try something new. Whether it's a charity walk, a 5K run, or a fitness challenge, there's a ton of them. Community events provide a fun and engaging way to get active and try something new. Think about your school or company, which they may organize such events every year, and be prepared to join them. Like, train yourself, and when the opportunity arises, then just jump at it. And lastly, don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. You might be surprised by how much you will enjoy something that you never tried, whether it's martial arts, rock climbing, or dancing. There's a whole world of sports out there waiting for you to discover. So I told you a little bit also about the rules and how much of a geek I am to read them. And yes, this helps you a lot, but it's not only about that. It's also about the equipment necessary and safety requirements that you really need to know before to join a sport. It actually helps to understand if it's a good fit or not. And actually, I would go only for official institutions. And usually there is even more than one for geographical region. So do your research, look upon those, and use those as your primary point of contact. Visit their official websites, and if they have it, follow online communities to keep yourself updated over time. Some sports, take climbing or alpinism, have specific safety requirements and instructions, sometimes even laws. So rule books and safety guidelines can help you in understanding if any upfront certification or special equipment is necessary before you start to practice this kind of activity. Also, I don't think I need to tell you this, but make YouTube your best friend. There's so much free information out there that you can benefit from that it would be a waste not to actually doing it. When you're completely new, the only challenge I would say with this kind of information channel is understanding who will provide you reliable information. So, as I said, stick to official channels. For example, there is channels from clubs, academies, or official institutions which often provide suggestions through their own certified coaches and trainers. So this is actually safe. To some extent, you can also follow other experienced members of the community, which can tell you about their experiences with the discipline and give you some push as well. But always check qualifications, like how much they've been doing the discipline, how much time they spend, and don't look at their physique only. Like, I know many of you would be, oh wow, that person is super fit. She must be very knowledgeable. No, that is not always the case. Some people, we will talk about this, but some people are just born genetically fit and some others not. Or some others are very fit, have a lot of endurance, but they don't show it like many other ones. So don't use that as the only reference point, but really check what they've done, how much time they are online, how much information they share, and sometimes they also have websites. So you can really dig deep and understand what's their level. Finally, some extra tips. Connect with more people. This is a golden rule, I would say, for anything. Ask friends or family members who play sports for recommendations or seek the advice of a coach or trainer. Being able to talk to a professional is always the best solution, I would say. They have the field experience that can help you to make the right decision. However, we're not always that lucky, and to be real, sometimes we don't have much choice. We may have limited options and get to talk to only one coach, who, for our greatest inconvenience, may be biased. Have you ever heard that story of input any great sports professional you know who had, at the beginning of their career, a trainer or coach telling them they weren't going far? And then they proved them wrong? This happens frequently. So maybe you've been able to get in touch with a coach, but she isn't that convinced of you. Don't get discouraged. What you need is more perspectives and feedbacks. I'm not saying you don't have to listen to this specific person, but just get more information from more people. If you happen to have family or friends practicing your discipline of choice or any sport, you have a great source at your hands. If not, as we said, online communities can really inform you. Ask a question in an online forum like Reddit or in a specific Facebook group. Wait and you'll see wonders. Post on Athletes, our Facebook group, for example. This actually help more than a lot of professionals because you need also the experience of people like you, not only from people who are already trained. They may have been at your level in the past, but often they forget what it was to be like you. Okay, we've come to the end and touched on all the points for today. We've discussed how your lifestyle can make or fail your training plan. How pivotal is to become a pro in identifying your real interests so that you can keep yourself both interested and motivated in the long term. Why taking into account your physical abilities when choosing a sport shouldn't necessarily limit your choice. Then what team, individual, or mixed disciplines mean and how to align your choice to your personal goals. And finally, just now, we've ended with how people connections can give you more perspectives to better evaluate your personal situation and choice. So, get out there and try a few different options until you find the perfect fit for you. If you want to get more practical on how to plan your routine, make sure you don't lose the next episode. We'll go over how to develop and maintain an effective training routine that will help you crush your athletic goals. We will touch the SMART and other techniques. Also, I'm tailoring this podcast series to let you achieve your unique goals. What is the major roadblock to move your body? Is it time, work, and other commitments, or you simply get bored? Or maybe you have a topic you want me to talk about. Please let me know by writing a comment or answering the poll in the Athletes community or on your preferred social media platform, whatever you like. I'll post the links in the description box below, or you can visit the athlete.com website and reach out to me via the contact form. I'd love to hear from you. But you can also keep listening to the upcoming next episodes. Thank you for being part of the Athlete community. That's all for today. EGR out.